metricide. The dilution factor depends on how dirty the scope is and how you need to sterilize it. Again, as I said, if you want to sterilize it after, like for example, colonoscopy, it is full concentrated metricide, 45 minutes to sterilize the scope. For sanitary purposes, you just do it to a weak tea consistency. I think, Vinny, you brought up if you kind of pour it to the base, just to where it fills up this rim, that's a pretty good estimation. So as I'm filling it up, just filling the inside rim here of the metricide, that's a pretty good eyeball estimation. How much? For cleaning, just for general cleaning. Yeah, this isn't for sterilization, but for general cleaning. And then you pour at least a gallon of water in with it. So this is going to be our metricide solution. Barb, do you mind pouring the water one in the water bin? And it should suds up. It also has a cleaning agent in it too. So when the doctor's finished with the scope, they should hand it to you after it's been pre-cleaned. That's a very important thing. So two things to ask the doctor before they hand you the scope. Was it pre-cleaned and what did you use it for? Do you think I need to do a general cleaning or do we need to put it in full concentrated metricide for a period of time? And the doctor will let you know, oh, it was just an upper GI, we'll just do a standard cleaning. The second thing, when they hand you the scope, make sure this cap is on. This cap is what protects the electronics.
Are we using that one for colonoscopies too?
Yes and no, depends on the individual doctor and the situation. So most time we use, yeah, exactly. But sometimes we do, sometimes we will. This cap must be on the scope when the doctor hands it to you. If it's not, if you can see those electronics, or if you can see, hey Nolan, can you hand me the coupling that's sitting right there? If this is still attached to the scope, this is the coupling that it attaches to the audiovisual unit. You shouldn't have any strings hanging from this, basically. This is what attaches to the audiovisual. This cannot be submerged in water. So this, when the doctor's finished with it, they put it back into the cabinet. Thanks, dude. So then the doctor will place the cap, the waterproof cap on there. If I can get it on there. It only goes one way, so. And it goes in place. And then you can submerge this in water. I know this is kind of a little disconcerting because most of the other scopes that we've had, you cannot immerse the entire scope in water. This one you can, and that's what you need to do. You need to immerse the entire scope in water. The final thing when the doctor hands it to you, you want to make sure that it's not locked. You want the end of the scope to be freely movable. These are the dials that move the end of the scope. Free, F is for free, so when it's turned this direction, the scope is free. When it's locked, it's back. You don't want to mess with the scope end when it's locked. When you're cleaning, you're going to be moving the scope. If it's locked, it'll strip the mechanism. So make sure it's free. So you move everything, that you can move the dials easily, and the end of the scope moves with it. So then you immerse the entire thing in water. And then obviously you're just going to clean the exterior part of the scope. Just look for any debris, any material. Use the metricide to clean, especially paying obviously special attention to the end of the scope so that the end of it is clean and free of debris. You can use, I recommend just using your hand. If there's something really tenacious and really stuck on there, you can grab a Kim wipe and use that to help scrub it off. If it's incredibly tenacious, you can dip it in hydrogen peroxide, concentrate hydrogen peroxide for a few seconds, and then back into the metricide. You don't want to leave the peroxide on there too long because it can affect the bushings and things. Then obviously you're going to clean each end of the scope just with a simple brush. So the end of the scope, it has a biopsy channel. I don't know if you guys can see it really close, but basically it's a small biopsy port that you'll clean with a brush in and out a few times. Make sure it's free of debris. Then you'll go to the meat of the scope. Actually, I should put these back on there. Apologies. When you are handed the scope, it's probably going to have the dials on it already. So when you're given the scope, these are going to be on. These come off. Just a gentle twist and a pull. Takes each one off. Gentle twist and a pull, and just pops right off. So each channel you're going to clean just with this pipe cleaner just in the beginning, just to get any debris that's kind of stuck to the end of the scope down in each spot. This one has two different ports, so one goes straight down and then one goes at about a 45-degree angle. I don't think you'll be able to see it with the camera, but it's a 45-degree angle just like that, and you can see if you look very, very close how I'm going in there. You can also tell when you put the probe into the 45-degree angle one, obviously it's at an angle, and when you put it to the straight one, it's straight. So these are different channels of the scope, so you need to clean both of them. both with the big guy, and we'll go with the little guy in a minute. And the bigger brush is obviously for these larger holes. And again, you're just freeing any debris. If it comes out dirty, wash it off. Do it till it comes out clean, obviously. On the end of the scope here, same thing. There's a couple ports that you'll be able to get into and clean out. This is the suction port, so you'll clean any debris out of. All right, so the first thing you're going to do, after you've done the basic exterior cleaning, the first part of the interior cleaning is cleaning the suction. So what you're going to do is you're going to suction some metricide through the scope itself. So you'll have to hook up to suction. Can you turn it off one? So you hook it up to suction. This is the port where we hook up suction when we're using the scope. It's no different than when you're cleaning the scope. So hook up to suction. Obviously you can hear it's beginning to suck. It certainly does suck. So when it's sucking the metricide, you got to plug off all three of these ports. And there's a couple different ways of doing the suction. You can place this small little port on, and then you have to end up putting both fingers on here to close off all three. And you see if I release, it loses suction, any one of them. Or you can use the cheater that I actually like this guy a lot. This does all three at the same time. So you place this down into the suction port and into the air port, and you push down and then forward, and it locks in place. And what that effectively does, you see it kind of locks off both of them. Oh, I know. And then this cap is for the biopsy channel. So when you place this on, again, you just place down, give it a little bit of pressure, and then it locks in place. And so when it's on, the suction goes just freely. So we'll do about, I tell you, 30 seconds of metrozyme is typically what I do with the suction. And then you'll want to do 30 seconds of water afterwards. So what I usually do, because I have the bin right next to me, I'll just do 30 seconds of metrozyme, about 30 seconds of water. This is not as actually, it's not closing it off as well, is it? Yeah, it's actually better with just your fingers. You know. So each time you do a series of metricide and water, it's metricide, water, air. But when you do the suction, the first one you do, you'll end up just placing it back into the metricide. So we will do a final suction at the end of all of this. So stick this up, take it off. You just turn it off for now. Oh, thanks. Okay, so then after you've done the suction, you want to run the brushes. And so you've got to run a brush through both the biopsy channel and through both of those channels in here. So the biopsy brush, the cleaning brush, there's a couple of them. Normally we use the disposable ones, but apparently we lost all of them. So we have a more permanent one too. I like the disposable ones. I prefer those. They're on order. They'll be back next week. They're basically look identical to this, except for this is blue plastic, and they have a little pipe cleaner on the end of it. So as you'd guess, you're just going to run the pipe cleaner down each channel until it comes out the other side. And what it's doing as it's going through the entire scope is it's brushing the material down all the way to the end of the scope. And you'll see it come out. This is the biopsy channel, so it's going to come out at the end of the biopsy. Then obviously you don't want to run just right back through again. Once it comes out, clean it off, you know. And then if it's dirty, if it's dirty after you've run it again. Run it until it's clean. When it's clean, it comes out. Then you clean it off again and pull it back through. So you'll repeat that process with both the biopsy channel and both channels of the air water. So we said there's one that goes straight down, and there's one that goes at a 45. This is straight down. You should have a little bit of resistance, but not a lot. I mean, if you're having to bend this thing a lot to put it in, stop.
Never ever force anything.
It's just gentle pressure. You can kind of see. Pretty gentle. And just wait for it to come out. It's either going to come out the end of the channel, or it'll come out the suction. Let's say this time it's going to come out the suction. See, it came out the end of the suction, so that cleaned the suction channel. So again, I look at the brush. If it's really dirty, I'll clean it off. I'll pull it back through now that it's clean, and then run it again until it comes out clean. So you'll need to do it on each channel.